everyone, I am Chef Kate and welcome to my kitchen. And today's video we are going to go over some knife skills. So simple things that will help you cut better and be a little bit more consistent. And I'll give you a couple little tricks that I have up my sleeve. So welcome to Knife Skills 101. Alright, so I have a cutting board and my knives and some vegetables. So this is a nice big cutting board. It's plastic, it's not a big deal. It's nice on my the blade of my knives. I have a bamboo cutting board over here, a little bit smaller. Depends on what I'm cooking, how much I'm cooking. See how this guy moves? This guy is a little bit less movable. My hack for you guys are to take a wet paper towel, so it's damp. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on my counter and I'm gonna put my cutting board on it. So you could use any kind, like a dish towel, anything that you want, just to give it that texture. And look, now it's not gonna move. So that's my first hack. I don't want you cutting off your fingers by your cutting board moving on you. So with a little wet paper towel on there and you're all good. And then you can use it later to clean up your mess. So I have a 10-inch chef knife here. This is my favorite tool that I like to use. It has a nice sharp blade. It's rounded, so I can rock and use a rocking motion when I cut. I also have other knives. So I have this guy here. It's a little bit lighter weight. It's more of a straight blade, but you can still rock with it. And then I have another 10-inch because you know I'm very consistent. And this guy is a little bit heavier in my hand. So I cannot cook all day and chop a ton of vegetables with this guy. My hand gets too tired. So pick a knife that fits your hand and a weight that you want. You'll see this has little grooves on the edge of it along the knife blade. That's to keep your vegetables from sticking. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not a deal breaker when you're shopping for knives, but you want to try it out. You want to be able to lift it and see what works best for you. So this is my wonderful 10-inch collection of blades. This guy I've had for, I don't know, maybe 30 years. And as long as you keep them sharp and clean, don't put them in the dishwasher if they have a wooden handle on them. I wash them in hot soapy water. Your knives are gonna last for forever. So it's worth an investment, 2 or 3 knives, and you'll be good. You can cook just about anything. All right, so most important thing is you wanna keep your fingers away from your cutting blade, and you'll notice the grip that I have. I don't want to put my fingers up on top. I want it nice and tight in my hand with my fingers up towards the top of the handle. So I have a lot of control. If I held it back like this, I'm not going to have a lot of control. I'm not going to have that force that I need to cut my beautiful carrots. So put my grip up here. I peeled my carrots before doing anything. I can just slice down. I'm going to take off my tip and my end. I can cut my carrot in half. I do about 2-3 inches maybe for a carrot because I don't want a big long piece. I'm gonna cut it in half. So I'm just gonna press down. So I'm gonna use that blade so it can rock. If I want to make little sticks, I can just go like that. So I wanna put that flat side down on my cutting board so it's not rolling around. If I was just gonna try and cut this guy, he's gonna roll around. Nice and flat, then I can go down. If I wanna do a dice, I put them all together and I'm just gonna do a rocking motion. I'm gonna keep my fingers away, right? These guys, I don't wanna cut them off. Some people will grip them by the edge so that you can get it nice and close. It's like the claw, they call it. So if you wanna try that, go right ahead. Make sure these fingers are out of the way. So I have a nice little dice there. It's like I'm getting ready to make soup. So you want to try and be as consistent as you can with your cutting. So then all your pieces are going to cook the same pace. So if I have big pieces and little pieces, my big pieces are not going to be cooked, but my little pieces are going to be overcooked. So you try and make it as consistent as possible. And I will tell you, fresh vegetables are so much easier to cut. They have that nice water content, so it's easy to cut through, as opposed to if you had carrots in your refrigerator from, I don't know, maybe a month old. They're gonna lose all that water and they're gonna be harder to cut and not as tasty. All right, so I have my little thing of celery here. I washed it and now it's nice and dry. I can take the tip of my knife and just go down. So it's not gonna roll around at all. It's gonna be nice and straight there. I can make it a little bit smaller, so it's gonna kind of match the size of my carrots over there. All right, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them all together and I'm just gonna go ba, 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 ba. Now don't worry about having too much. You don't wanna do too much at one time, and don't worry about your speed. You're gonna get faster and faster the more you do it, and you are gonna be very successful. So they're about the same size as my carrots. So as I was making soup, they're gonna cook about the same time. Okay, so I have garlic, because if we're making soup, we need garlic, right? So I have a clove here. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna take the side of my knife and go like that. So all of this beautiful paper that's keeping all of our flavor in is going to come off really easily. All right, so I'm gonna take my little garlic, and most of your recipes are gonna call for mincing. So I'm gonna slice it up. I'm gonna take that end piece and put it in my compost because I don't wanna eat that. And then a mince is just really, really fine chopping. So again, I'm gonna keep my fingers out of the way. I have all those guys. I'm gonna turn my knife. I can go like this, la, 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 la. And it's just gonna be really small pieces. So if you notice, if you're at, say, an Italian restaurant and they have 40 clove garlic sauce, they are going to keep the garlic whole. If you mince it, you're gonna get a lot more flavor as opposed to just having your whole garlic cloves in there. So that's why they can do the 40 cloves. So look, nice and small, tiny little pieces. If you are cooking a lot and you want a beautiful, wonderful gadget that I love, I can get a beautiful mince with this. So it's a garlic press. You put your clove in there, you're gonna press down and you're gonna get that. It takes like 5 seconds to do, as opposed to maybe a minute if you're mincing here. So it's a nice time saver, but then you do have to wash this. You're already washing your knives. So it's up to you what you wanna do, but if you're cooking a lot, a garlic press is a very nice tool. All right, so here I have a yellow onion. I am going to slice in with the top point of my knife, which is why we have a point on there. Take off that end. Take off these beautiful paper pieces on the outside. And you're gonna have this really nice onion. I don't wanna cut off the root side of your onion. So how it was growing in the garden was like this, and then you have the roots there. I'm gonna keep that on. So what I can do is I can very carefully slice in, but I'm not gonna go all the way to my root end. So I'm only going in part of the way. And this takes a little bit of practice. So the first time you might not get it, you can go like that so you can see. So I am doing about 1/4 inch between. So what I can do now is I can slice down. Right? So I have those beautiful pieces and I can do it again. All right, so then all I have to do is turn my pieces and I am just going to do it again. And I'm gonna have a nice, that's pretty big cut, more of a large dice than you would have for your soup. And it's gonna cook and it's gonna be beautiful. And there you go, done. Some recipes will call for a small dice, so you'd make smaller pieces. Some recipes are gonna call for a large. If your recipe doesn't specify, do a medium, and then you'll be fine. All right, so here I have my basil leaves. So if I want to do a nice garnish or something like that, I'm going to stack them up on top of each other. And then I'm going to roll them into a tube. And look, watch, I'm just going to go ba-da-da. That simple. And then look at, I have beautiful ribbons. They call it a chiffonade. But how beautiful would that be on top of your beautiful pasta? Or on top of your soup that you're making, and just top it up like that. You don't really want to cook your fresh basil very much, but look, it's beautiful. So easy. All right, so I have my beautiful apple here and a paring knife. So it's a smaller blade. I'm gonna hold it the same way, kind of, because I'm gonna use my thumb on the end to pull it along. So I'm gonna peel my beautiful apple. And I do have a contest with myself. Every time I peel an apple, I try and get it all in one little movement here. So I'm slowly doing my apple. Oh, I didn't. I lost my own race. Bummer. That's okay. So I'm gonna keep peeling it. So I'm gonna take this off. So say I was making a pie. I don't want the peel in my pie. So I'm just gonna take it all off. And then I'm gonna just slice up my apple. So, ta-da! I have my apple. I'm gonna take my paring knife. You could use a big chef knife if you wanted to. I don't want my apple to taste like onion. So I'm just gonna go around the core. So I don't wanna eat the core in my pie. All right, there we go. So now I don't want big chunks of apple in my pie either. I can slice them, leave them like that in pieces, or what I can do is I can slice them up. Again, I'm gonna try and keep them about the same thickness, so they're pretty uniform in size. Maybe I wanna do like smaller pieces like that, so they're a little bit smaller. Maybe I want to make them even smaller. Very quick and easy. I'm gonna wash my hands so I don't want my fingers cut off. And I'm just gonna go through and slice them. Again, I'm using my cutting board. You don't want to cut with your knives on your quartz or your granite cutting board or cutting table countertops. That's the word. It will dull your knife fast. So that's why I like the bamboo. It's very forgiving. So I can keep my knives nice and sharp for longer. I cook a lot, so we get our knives sharpened probably every 6 months. If you haven't had your knives sharpened in a while, get them sharp, because you will be cooking up a storm, because it'll be so nice when you're chopping and you have a sharp knife. You're gonna be less likely to cut yourself. So sharp knives are our friends. All right, so my other favorite knife in my little grouping of knives that I use all the time, every day, is my serrated knife. So it has like little grooves on it, little teeth. So I think of it like a saw. So I'm gonna use this if I'm cutting through a loaf of bread and I'm slicing through. I'm gonna use a sawing motion to slice. If I'm baking a cake and I wanna take the top layer off, so it's nice and flat, this is the knife that I'm gonna use. So it's going to just cut through that cake, and I'm gonna get a beautiful top flat, and then people in my family like to eat the top of that cake, or then I can frost it and it's nice and level on there. All right, I have one more little tip for you, but it's very, very important. So yes, I wash my knives, I keep them in a block, so they're ready anytime I need them. But whatever you do, do not put your sharp knives in hot soapy water in a sink. If they're wooden handles, it's not good for the wood. But most importantly, whoever does your dishes, or maybe you have to do the dishes, you do not want to reach into the hot soapy water and grab that knife, because I guarantee you, you will not grab the handle, you will grab the blade, and then you will be cut. So whatever you do not submerge the whole knife into the hot soapy water. Just go over and wash it off and put it to the side so it can dry. You're welcome.